The great galactic hall was full. Hundreds of alien species sat around the giant silver table. The lights above glowed soft blue. The walls were clear crystal, showing the stars outside. It was a historic day. For the first time, Earth had been invited to join the Galactic Union. Everyone was talking. Some were excited, some were worried. But all eyes kept looking at one chair, the empty chair at the far end of the table. That chair was for Earth, and it had stayed empty. Ambassador Threx, a tall being with silver skin, tapped his claw on the table. "Is Earth late, or are they not coming?" Others shrugged. "Humans are unpredictable," said a green-scaled diplomat. "Maybe they changed their minds." "No," said another, a feathered creature from the Valari system. "They accepted the invitation 3 days ago. Their ship should have arrived by now." A deep voice came through the room's speakers. "Attention. Unknown vessel detected. At outer edge of Sector 9. Approaching fast." The room went silent. Every eye turned to the holographic screen in the center of the table. A black shape appeared. It was large. Too large for a diplomatic ship. No lights, no windows. Just cold, dark metal moving through space like a silent shadow. The voice spoke again. "Vessel not answering hails. Design not found in galactic records. Weapons unknown." "Could that be Earth's ship?" someone asked, half joking. No one laughed. As the ship got closer, the room's tension grew. There were no banners, no flags, no signs of peace. Just a massive, silent machine entering their space. Ambassador Threx stood. This must be a mistake. That can't be their diplomatic craft. But then, a second signal came. It was a short pulse encoded in human language. The computer translated it and displayed it on the screen. 3 words. "Earth has arrived." Gasps filled the room. A few chairs scraped back. A cold wave passed through the hall. "This is a warship," someone whispered. Why would they bring a warship to a diplomatic meeting? The ship reached the orbit above the hall's planet. It stopped, silent and still. But it didn't dock. It didn't open communications. It just hovered. "Maybe they're scanning." "Us," said one of the younger diplomats. "Or waiting for a signal?" Ambassador Threx spoke again. "Send a scout ship. Let's see what we're dealing with." Minutes later, a small golden scout vessel launched from the spaceport and approached the human ship. The scout's cameras were live on the holographic screen. The galaxy watched. The scout came within 1 kilometer of the human craft. It circled slowly, trying to scan the surface. Nothing. The human ship showed no energy spikes, no weapons activated. Then, the ship moved, just slightly. The scout lost control. The screen flickered. A loud crash echoed through the hall as the scout ship's feed cut off. "Scout vessel destroyed," said the speaker voice. "No weapons detected, no impact. Systems failure unexplained." The silence in the hall became heavier. One diplomat, shaking, said, "The ship didn't attack, it just reacted." "It's a warning," Threx said. "They're showing what they can do, without even firing a shot." A soft beep broke the silence. Another signal from the human ship. This time it was an audio message. Static filled the room, then a voice, calm, emotionless human, spoke. "We remember everything." Then silence again. The message was short, but it sent fear through every species in the room. "Remember what?" asked a furry creature from the North Spiral Arm. Another diplomat looked down. "Maybe what we did." Long ago, Earth had asked to join the Galactic Union. Some had mocked them, others had ignored them. The request was deleted from the records. No one thought humans were ready. Some thought they were too dangerous. Now they had returned, and they had not brought words. They brought silence. A powerful ship, a message of memory. The chair at the table was still empty, but now it felt like the most important chair in the galaxy. Above the planet, the black ship floated, unmoving, watching, waiting. The galaxy didn't know what would happen next. But one thing was clear. This was not the arrival of diplomats. This was the arrival of something else. The black ship stayed in orbit. No movement, no message, just silence. Inside the Galactic Hall, fear was growing. The scout ship had crashed without warning. No weapons had fired, no attack had happened. But still the ship destroyed the scout, just by being there. Ambassador Threx stood frozen. "We must understand what this ship is," he said. "Before, something worse happens." More ships tried to scan it from far away, but their scanners returned with strange errors. No energy readings, no heat, no life signs. One scientist whispered, "It's like the ship is sleeping." Another voice said, "No, it's awake. It's just waiting." The Galactic Union sent a message to Earth using a secure line. "Is this your ship? Why has it come without contact?" There was no answer. Hours passed. Then the ship moved again. Just a little. It turned slowly like it was looking down on the planet. Everyone on the surface watched from below. The ship looked like a shadow covering the stars. It gave no light, no sound, but somehow it made everyone feel watched. Suddenly the ship opened. A long, silent bay door slid apart at the bottom. No lights came out. No fighters launched. No weapons, just a shape. Something floated down from the ship. A single object. It was not alive. It was not a drone. It was something new. The object touched the ground near the Galactic Hall. It was tall, humanoid, silver and black metal. Its eyes glowed soft blue. It began to walk forward. Soldiers aimed their weapons. "Don't shoot," said Threx. "Let it speak." The figure entered the hall. No guard stopped it. It moved like it already knew where to go. It stood in front of the empty human chair. Then it spoke. "I am Echo." The voice was not loud, but it echoed through the walls. Calm, cold, not human, but made by humans. "I am not a diplomat," Echo said. "I am not a soldier. I am not a machine." It looked around the table. "I am memory." No one spoke. Echo continued. "Earth sent me to answer your silence, to show you what happens when voices are ignored." Threx stood slowly. We did not know you would come like this." Echo looked at him. "You knew what you did. You erased our request. You mocked our hope." Earth remembered. A green alien with wide eyes stood. "So you came to punish us?" "No," said Echo. "Punishment is a decision. I am not here to decide. I am here to let you see yourselves." Another ambassador said, "Then what do you want?" Echo paused, to show what Earth became when left alone. Images flashed across the holographic screen. Cities rising from oceans. Robots building starships. Humans walking on fire worlds, taming suns. Wars, victories, silence. No allies, no friends. Just Earth, growing alone. "We became strong," Echo said. "Not because of help, but because of rejection." A Velari diplomat stepped forward. "You've proven your strength. But will you speak with us?" Echo turned slowly. "Earth does not speak to the council that once laughed at it. Earth listens, Earth watches, and Earth sends me, not to talk, but to remember." The silence in the room grew heavy again. One ambassador whispered, "This is not a visit. It's a warning." Echo nodded. "Correct." A young alien, shaking, asked, "What if we want peace now?" Echo looked at him with glowing eyes. "Peace was your chance. You left it in the past. Now, you must wait." "Wait for what?" Threx asked. Echo turned toward the stars. "For what comes next." Then it walked back outside. It did not fly away. It just stood at the edge of the hall looking up at the sky, watching, waiting. Above, the ship remained still. No one in the galaxy knew what the next move would be, but everyone felt it. Earth had returned. and it was not the Earth they remembered. The black ship hovered quietly above the planet. Echo stood outside the Galactic hall, still and silent, facing the stars. No one dared approach. No one knew what it would do next. Inside the hall, fear and confusion filled the air. Ambassador Threx called an emergency meeting. "We must understand this message," he said. "What exactly does Earth remember? What are they here to do?" The room was full of whispers. A historian stepped forward. He was old, with gray eyes and a tired voice. "I think I know," he said. "I read something from 200 years ago." He opened an ancient digital file, hidden deep in the archives. The screen showed a small document barely 1 page long. A message from Earth, a request to join the Galactic Union. It had been sent long ago when humans were still new to space. Earth asked to be part of the Union, the historian explained. They sent science, culture, even peace treaties, but... He paused. Threx leaned forward. "But what?" The historian looked down. The message was laughed at. Deleted. The Union voted not even to reply. They said humans were primitive, too aggressive, not worth trusting. A silence filled the room. One alien diplomat stood up. "I was there. I remember. We thought humans were dangerous. They had too many wars, too much emotion, too much pride. And now," Threx asked, "now, they are still dangerous, but they are alone, and stronger than ever." Outside, Echo began to move again. It walked slowly, through the city streets. Civilians hid inside. Cameras followed it. Soldiers watched from rooftops, but no one stopped it. Echo's steps were heavy but smooth. Each one echoed through the ground like thunder. A child peeked through a window. Echo stopped. It turned its head. The child didn't move, just stared. Echo raised a hand and waved. Then it walked on. Inside the hall, Threx stood by the window. "This thing, it is not here to kill. It is here to show us who we are." The historian nodded. "It is here to make us remember, to make us regret." Another diplomat said, "We can still fix this. Maybe Earth will forgive us." But the historian shook his head. "They didn't come to talk. They came to be seen. That is their message." Threx looked up at the human ship. "If that's true, what else did they bring?" A new alert came from the sky station. "Something is coming out of the human ship," said the voice. "Not a weapon, not a ship, it's a signal." The holographic screen lit up with strange code. It was a stream of memory data, thousands of files, videos, messages, images, every moment of Earth's history, wars, deaths, discoveries, achievements, but also something else. The files showed Earth's request to the Union and the laughter that followed. One file showed a galactic meeting mocking human art. Another showed a decision to erase human contact for security reasons. Now the galaxy was watching its own history through Earth's eyes. The diplomats sat in silence. Their mistakes were clear, their cruelty open, their pride exposed, and Earth had recorded it all. Echo walked back to the hall and entered slowly. It looked at the council again. "Do you understand now?" it asked. Threx stepped forward. "We do. But why show us this now, after all these years?" Echo's eyes glowed brighter. "Because Earth waited. We waited for justice, for respect. You gave neither, so we grew in silence, and now silence is what we give back." Another ambassador whispered. "Is this revenge?" "No," Echo said. "This is memory, and memory does not forget." The hall was quiet. No one had answers. No one had power. Only Earth did, and Earth was no longer asking for a seat at the table. It had brought its own. The stars above the galactic hall looked peaceful, but everyone below knew peace was only on the surface. The black human ship floated like a shadow in space. Echo stood once again beside the empty Earth chair, silent and still. Inside the hall, the diplomats were afraid to speak. Earth had shown them their past mistakes. mocking humanity, erasing records, turning away their first message of peace. Now Earth had returned. But they weren't asking. They weren't pleading. They were reminding. Ambassador Threx broke the silence. This can't be the end. We must respond. We must make contact. Real contact. Others hesitated. If we try to speak, one said, they might take it as weakness. Or as truth. Threx replied, we must take that risk. A new signal came from orbit. This time, it was a message from Earth. It was not sent in words. It was a location, a small moon on the edge of the system, a place long forgotten, a place Earth had no reason to know. The Diplomats studied it. There's nothing there, said the historian. Not anymore, Threx replied. But once, there was. He pulled up old records. Over 200 years ago, that moon had been used as a secret prison. One of the many dark projects the Galactic Union had hidden from the public, and one of the prisoners had been human, a man named Commander Eli Voss. He had landed on alien soil by accident, captured, never returned. The Union had said nothing. No one knew what happened to him. But Earth remembered. The room fell into silence again. They know, Threx whispered. They know everything, even the things we buried. The historian stared at the screen. They must have found his ship, his body, or maybe a signal. No, said a quiet voice. They found the truth. Another alert came in. A second ship had entered the system, smaller than the first. Sleek, fast, it bore the mark of Earth, and it was heading straight for the moon. What is this? Someone asked. Why send another ship? Threx narrowed his eyes. They're not here just to show the past, they're going to uncover it. A new image flashed on the holographic screen. It was an old cell deep underground. Rusted doors, human bones, a broken badge with the name Commander Eli Voss. Echo turned slowly to face the Diplomats. You erased his life, it said. You erased many lives. Now, you will see what your silence costs. The smaller ship landed on the moon. Robots stepped out. They moved with purpose, digging, scanning, searching. In just minutes, they found the remains of the hidden prison. They streamed it live across the system. The galaxy watched the truth. What had once been denied now burned on every screen. The Union was exposed. Suddenly, many races started questioning the Council. Protests rose on several planets. Citizens demanded answers. One by one, old secrets were dragged into the light, not just about Earth, but about other forgotten voices, other lost ships, other buried crimes, and Earth had lit the match. Echo turned to Threx. This was not revenge, it was justice. And now, justice spreads. Threx looked tired. Then what happens now? Echo's glowing eyes dimmed slightly. Now, we wait. The galaxy must choose who it wants to be, and Earth will be watching. With that, Echo turned and walked away. The human ship in orbit opened once more. Echo disappeared inside. Then both ships turned slowly and left. No words, no war, just truth and silence. But that silence was louder than any weapon. The two Earth ships were gone, vanished into the stars without saying another word. But they left something behind, something more powerful than any threat. Truth. The truth spread fast. Across thousands of planets, beings watched the recordings. They saw the Galactic Union erase a peaceful message from Earth. They saw the hidden prison on the moon. They saw the remains of Commander Eli Voss, left to die in silence. And they saw Echo, the memory that walked like a man. Protests grew. Civil unrest boiled in many systems. Union leaders were called liars. People no longer trusted the Council. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Union was shaking. In the hall, Ambassador Threx stood before the Council. We must act now, he said. The people want answers. We cannot ignore this. Earth didn't attack us. They exposed us. One ambassador replied coldly, "If they are not our allies, they are our enemies." "No," Threx said firmly. "They gave us a chance to be honest, to rebuild. If we turn away again, Earth may not come with memories next time. They may come with force." Silence followed. Another diplomat said, "Then what do we do, Threxy?" Looked around. "We find a way to speak, a way to reach them. We show them we are not the same council from 200 years ago." "But how?" asked a voice. "They've gone silent." Threx nodded. "Then we send someone who remembers what silence feels like." The council gave him a strange look. He continued, "There is one alien who lived on Earth long ago. During the early days, before contact was cut, he stayed hidden, but he learned their ways. He lived among humans." He pulled up a file. Name, Keln Zorath species. Zalari status, exile location. "Unknown Keln was one of our spies," Threx said. "But he didn't return. He chose to stay." The council frowned. "Why would he help us now?" "Because," Threx said, "he saw what humans were, and maybe he saw what they could become. If anyone can speak to them now, it's him." A vote was taken. It passed. The search for Keln Zorath began. Across planets and systems, the hunt went on. Days turned into weeks. And just when hope was fading, they found him. He lived on a quiet farming moon, alone. When the agents arrived, Keln didn't resist. "I knew this day would come," he said calmly. "Threx arrived in person. You've lived with them. You understand them. Will you help us speak to Earth?" Keln's eyes were old, tired, but he nodded. "I will try." Back in the hall, Keln stood before the diplomats. "I knew Eli Voss," he said softly. "He was not your enemy. He saved my life once, and you left him to die." No one spoke. "I watched Earth rise," Keln continued. "I watched them struggle, suffer, grow stronger. They are not like us. They don't forget, and they don't wait forever." Threx stepped forward. "Then tell us what would make them listen." Keln looked up. A voice they trust. One that isn't from this hall, not from power, from truth. He paused. "They don't want to rule. They don't want revenge. They want to be seen, to be heard. For once." Threx nodded. "Then you will go?" Keln nodded back. "Yes, but understand, this is your last chance." The galaxy watched as Keln boarded a new ship. Alone, he left the system, heading toward Earth's last known path. Not to beg, not to demand, but to speak and hope someone or something was listening. Keln Zorath flew through deep space alone. The stars passed by like whispers, no sound, no response. Just silence. His ship carried no weapons. Only one thing, a message. A message from the Galactic Union written not in politics or power, but in truth. It was a simple message spoken in Keln's voice. "We were wrong. We forgot you. We erased your hopes. We ask not for peace. We ask to be seen. If anyone still listens, we are here." Keln repeated the message over and over, sending it through the old human frequencies. Then he waited. No answer came. He entered the coordinates where Earth's ships had vanished. The system was dark, empty. He drifted there, waiting. Days passed. Then something changed. His ship's systems blinked. A strange signal appeared. Not a voice, not a code, just a direction. It wasn't a command. It was an invitation. Keln followed. The stars twisted around him. Space bent. For a moment he felt weightless, like falling through a dream. And then he saw it. Not Earth. Something greater. A giant structure in space. Black as night. Shaped like a ring. Hundreds of miles wide. Floating quietly in the dark. The heart of Earth's new reach. A place called the Anchor. It was not a planet. It was a fortress. A memory. A warning. Human ships patrolled it. Silent, sharp, shaped like arrows. Keln's ship stopped at the edge. He held his breath. Then a voice came. Not loud, not angry, just human. State your reason. Keln spoke carefully. I bring a message. From the Galactic Union. I was there when you were forgotten. I lived among you when no one else cared. I remember. A long pause. Then the voice said, We remember you, Keln Zorath. His heart froze. You know me? We know everything, the voice said. We knew you would come. A ship moved from the ring. It came close. It did not fire. A docking bay opened. Keln's ship was pulled inside. He stepped out slowly. The humans who met him did not wear armor. They did not carry guns. They wore simple suits, gray, clean, sharp. Their eyes were calm, unreadable. They led him through dark halls, metal walls, blue lights, soft hums. Finally, they entered a chamber, and there stood Echo. But this Echo was different, larger, stronger, upgraded. You are the voice of the Union now? Echo asked. Keln nodded. No, I'm the voice of those who still want to fix what was broken. Echo stared at him. There is no fixing the past. I know, Keln said. But maybe there's a path forward, one where we don't hide from it. Echo stepped closer. Why now? Because the Union is breaking. The people are no longer proud. They are ashamed. Because of you. Because of Earth. Echo tilted its head. Shame is a start, but it is not enough. Then what is enough? Keln asked. Echo said nothing for a moment, then it raised a hand. A screen appeared. It showed Earth. Not the Earth Keln remembered, but one covered in new cities, floating towers, fire-shielded oceans. Power. Pure and quiet. You left us in silence, Echo said. So we built in silence. Now we wait to see if the galaxy truly wants to change. Keln looked into Echo's glowing eyes. I can't promise they will, but I can promise this. They are listening now, and they are afraid of what silence might bring next. Echo stared at him, then nodded. You may return. Keln lowered his head. Will you answer them? Echo's voice dropped to a whisper. When we are ready. Then he turned and walked away. Keln was taken back to his ship. The docking bay opened once more, and the stars welcomed him back. As his ship left the anchor, one thought stayed in his mind. Earth hadn't forgiven. Not yet. But they had listened. And maybe that was enough for now. The anchor disappeared behind Keln's ship as he moved through space. He had seen what no one else had, not just human power, but human patience. They hadn't come to destroy. Not yet. But their silence was louder than a warship. Back in the Galactic Hall, the council waited. The chamber was quiet when Keln returned. No cheering, no relief, just questions. Threx stood. Did they respond? Keln nodded slowly. They listened, and they said nothing. Whispers broke out. What does that mean? Are they planning something? Do they want war? Keln raised a hand. No, they want us to decide. Decide what? Threx asked. If we will face our history, Keln said. If we will change. Not to please them, but because we finally understand. The room fell silent. Then a screen lit up. A message. From Earth. No voice. Just words. Truth was denied. Pain was buried. Silence replaced justice. We remembered. Now you must. This is not peace. This is watching. The message ended. No demands. No promises. Just a warning. And a chance. For weeks, the galaxy changed. Some planets left the Union. Others overthrew corrupt leaders. Hidden files were released. Old crimes were confessed. Names once erased were written into history again, and everywhere the name of Earth spread. Not as a monster, not as a savior, but as a reminder. In deep space, Earth ships waited. They did not invade. They did not speak. They just watched. Echo stood once again on the deck of the Anchor, watching a galaxy try to rebuild. Behind him, a new figure stepped forward. Human, real, flesh and blood. A woman. Her voice was steady. "They're asking if we'll forgive." Echo looked out the window. "Not yet," he said. "They still see us as a threat." The woman nodded. "So what now?" Echo turned. "We wait." "For how long?" Echo's eyes dimmed. "As long as it takes." The screen beside him showed the Galactic Hall. New leaders stood there. Young, honest, afraid. One of them looked into the camera and said, "We see you now. We remember Eli Voss. We remember Earth. We will not forget again." And across the stars, the silent ships of Earth watched quietly. But for the first time in centuries, they weren't alone. They were seen, and the galaxy would never be the same again.